It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about. Hey, hey, hey. It's the Berkey. It's the Badger Board Game Babble Show. Welcome, everybody, to the Kingdom of Babylon. And my co-host, the Gesture, Sir Badger the Brave.
I wonder who you were talking to. You were just like looking like stage left, and it's like you're talking to the guy, the janitor, who's like just drawn the curtains on the theater stage, and it's like,
yeah, I don't have all these fancy cameras like you do, where you can catch every image of your glorious self.
Yeah, right. My nose cam has stopped working recently, so. But yeah. Anyhow, nice to see you all. Hello, welcome to the show. We've got a lineup and a half for you today, haven't we, sire?
Yes, yes, yes. Tell us a little bit about the show today.
This is episode 98. We're nearly at 100 after 7 years of slowly trickling out, morsels of. Yeah,
it's like episode 98.
It's the constipated board game podcast show where we just one comes out every now and again. In this show, we're gonna talk quickly about what's been going on in Babylot, from the Babylot Castle to the lonely PP streets where I live. And then we're going to do a roundup of rumors in our subject things that make our king go, before we visit our last Babble subject in the poll that I posted about the best games of 2022. And then we're going to be interrogating our special guest, who is down in our dungeons right now. You can't see him, but I can see him. He's there.
Oh, he's there.
He's
shackled in chains. Is this right?
Oh, he's got a gobstopper as well, because I've heard that he can talk his way out of a lot of situations by making people pee themselves. But yes, we have our special guest, Grant Lyon, down in the dungeon, comedian and well-known board game.
Welcome to the dungeon. We're gonna. Okay, go ahead.
I was hoping that was just like a glitch on your webcam there, but anyway. And then we're going to do our Babble subject, which is going to be talking about humor at the gaming table. Is it welcome or is it banned, forbidden?
Forbidden.
I like that. I forbade you.
Kabuki Kid is here. Hey. Said you can't keep Grant down.
No, you can't. Well, actually, there he is.
Hey,
welcome, Grant Lyon.
Yeah, what an introduction. Just wait, there he is.
Yeah. Sorry,
I see you guys run a tight ship here, huh?
Oh, well, you can tell we're very scripted and never veer from it.
Yeah.
Left hand.
Thanks for having me.
We are all about the big time fun.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. It's interesting. I first met Grant at a couple different conventions, and last year you were at Tantrum Con 2022, and I think that was about when you started kind of doing your board game sketch and doing comedy in the board game area. I think. How is that about right? About 2 years?
Yeah,
or so?
I did my first live board game show in September 2021 at Kineticon, and so Tantrum Con was maybe the third time I'd done it, something like that. Start of the year. I'd done it a couple of places before that, so it was very young, and the show has gotten better since then, but still went really well at Tantrum Con. It was very fun. It's a fun show to do because it's speaking to a very specific audience that hasn't really been spoken to in that way before. with a stand-up show.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I like doing it.
Super fun. I love TantramCon. I love all the crew there, and I love the vibe of that convention. And I know you recently, you even, I caught you, we talked at PAX Unplugged, but caught you at Board Game Geek Con, and you actually had 2 big sessions. And I mean, the room was packed.
Yeah, 2 sold out
really
shows
giggly.
at BGG Con. Yeah. And it was fun, man. I mean, it's just it's nice to write jokes for people that are excited to see them. Yeah.
But you actually just like write them down and then you hold them up. There you go. You can see the joke.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way stand-up works all the time.
Yeah, it's a roll and write comedy.
Honestly, it kind of just started as like a challenge for myself, During the pandemic, I was like, I wonder if I could write an hour of comedy on board games, right? So I just started I literally set a schedule for myself. I was like, every Sunday, I'm going to sit down and write board game specific jokes and just see what I have at the end of the year. And then I was like, wow, I have a lot more than I thought I was going to. I wasn't even really, when I first started doing it, I wasn't even really planning to do it live. I was just kind of like, well, this is a nice creative outlet to see. And then after the year of doing all that writing, I was like, I think this is actually pretty funny. I want to do this live. And then, as with any show, there's a lot of cutting and reworking, and there's things that I think are funny or universal that aren't, that are things I've noticed in the hobby and other people haven't noticed. Like a joke I wrote early on that didn't work on stage was making fun of the term omni-gamer, that it sounds like really pretentious to me. It's like, oh, are you going to go summer in the Hamptons as an omni-gamer? And not enough people use that term. That was a term that I thought was sort of universally used, and it's just not. And so that joke, cut that joke. It wasn't universal enough to gamers.
Yeah. That's funny. How because you've been doing comedy now for like many, many years. You live in Los Angeles, and you've been how many years?
18 years.
18 years comedy.
Like January 2005 is when I really started.
So now, do you have a different look now and change your name from Steinfeld or?
Well, it has been interesting because, my whole life was just about straight stand-up for a long time. And then the pandemic kind of pushed me in this other direction. And now it's a balancing act between the two, for sure.
Yeah. How long have you been a gamer?
Well, I've been into games. So that's a tough question. I got into Magic the Gathering when I was a kid. So I was pretty into Magic, probably around like 1994, 95 is when I got in, and, was pretty into it for 3 years or something. And then got into high school and got into other things and that sort of stuff. And I didn't find my way back to games until, around 10 years ago. My buddy in LA started hosting these game nights for comedians, and it was all like party game sort of stuff. It was Telestrations and Cash and Guns and Code Names and things like that. And that kind of opened me up to the world of modern board games. And that's really when I feel like I became like an actual gamer.
So what's that like, playing games with other comedians? Is it just like the jokes just keep rolling and the game doesn't actually get finished?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, like, I literally feel like I have to do a thing when I'm trying to explain the rules of a game where I'm like, look, everybody is so funny here. I get it. You guys are all the funniest people in the room, but shut up for the next 5 minutes. Just shut up. You're gonna tell so many jokes after 5 minutes, but right now is rules and shut up. So there is definitely some of that.
We just so you know, we have a guest interviewer. Kabuki Kid has a question that she wants to interview you about.
Perfect.
And we have this happen every now and then where this professional interviewer has a question. There it is.
Yep, I have done many, many TV commercials at this point. I've been in a bunch of them. And the very first one I ever did, the premise of the commercial was I was a self-defense instructor, and it was for Belvita breakfast biscuits, if you've seen those.
Okay.
They're supposed to like give you sustained energy for the day, right? They're like these energy breakfast biscuits, kind of like granola bars. And so the premise of the commercial was I was a self-defense instructor, and eating Belvita gave me the energy to do what I needed to do all day long. And what I was doing was teaching women to kick me in the crotch. Like that was the premise. As a self-defense instructor, so it was like literally me getting kicked in the crotch over and over. And when they first told me, when I got the part, they were like, yeah, we're going to have this whole rig and stuff like that, and it'll be fine. That's not what actually was the case. They had a professional stuntman, but he was like, yeah, it's an old cowboy trick. You basically put a rope around both of your feet and run it up the seam of your pants so that when somebody kicks up, your body weight, if you have like baggy pants, then it hits the rope and not your crotch. But I probably got kicked 300-400 times that day.
Oh, no.
And so, one, it only works if people kick you in the right way, which is just coming straight up. If someone like bends their leg and kicks you like that, it misses the rope. So I definitely got actually kicked in the crotch multiple times. And then by the end of the day, my feet were all bruised because the rope was around my feet. So it was coming up on my feet all of the time. I mean, I was like somebody I'm kind of like down for anything. I'm game. I'm not a complainer or whatever. And so we were shooting for 12 hours, and probably the last 2, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And so then they started having to cheat shots at the end to like do it over my shoulder. So it looked like someone was kicking me, but I was like, I can't get kicked anymore. I'm sorry. Like,
after this experience, did you do that? Did you dress up in that bear suit, where the salmon is?
Yeah. I will tell you, I went and bought some Epsom salts and took a bath that night for the first time in years.
Oh boy.
And
have the sterility drugs worked better
yes.
now? Or
yeah, thankfully I'm very
Hey, we better move on. We got a lot of stuff to cover on the show, and we're going to have a great time with Grant, where we interrogate him in the dungeon. But before we do that, we're going to do our segment, our new segment, the things that make the king go Hmmm. But before that, we have our sponsor, Arcane Wonders. Now, Arcane Wonders has been with us since Berkey and Badger started. Of course, you can get a hold of their hit game, Foundations of Rome. You can still late pledge. There's just been some amazing new updates and the new expansion of the Roads of Fortune. So go ahead and join that. But I just got in the mail just yesterday. I am so pumped. I got to tell you, this game right here, Dice Manor. Now, I've been told that this game is very much like Vegas Showdown, which is one of the classic games that I absolutely love. And so when I heard about this and dice manipulation, I thought this is right down my alley. Now, Barry, you've actually picked up this game at Essen last year, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Dice Manor. I just got it, so I haven't played it yet.
It's a 2 to 4 player game where you are doing worker placement with dice. You roll the dice, you put all the same values together, and you choose one of those values as your workers, and you place them in 3 different locations. You can either put them in advertising, you can put them on an auction chain for a room to add to your manor, or you can actually use them to go on a tour around your manor. Very simple 3 actions, and it's very competitive obviously, because it's a dice auction game, and you're basically bidding people out of their places, and it's carnage. It even at the 4-player count, it's just total carnage. You want this, and then someone just wicks it away from you with an extra dice, and it's like, I've got no dice left. But yeah, it's fun. Lots of negotiations going on at the table, as well as scheming behind your mouth like that. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get that next time. So yeah, it's a very, very very engaged. I can't think of the word. The words are gone. But it's very competitive, interactive dice game.
Kabuki Kid says better performance than Vegas Showdown, I hope. And I totally agree, because that was my big disappointment with Vegas Showdown, is that it was like paper that were the player boards and stuff like that. But the quality that Arcane Wonders done. I also got 2 new games. We don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but I'm just going to show you really quick the new Mother of Frankenstien. Woohoo! Now this is an escape room type of cooperative game. It's 4 to 6 hours, 1 to 6 players. So there's a solo mode to this thing. They've planned several different volumes, and this just came out. This is really puzzly, which is really cool. And I just got a copy of Mobile Markets. Now this here is in that Smartphone Inc. line of games, but I've been told that this here is a lot of streamlining effects to it, and people are raving about Mobile Markets. I haven't had a chance to play any of these yet. So with that, please go to arcanewonders.com. Check out all the specials they have. You can late pledge for Foundations of Rome. You can get their other hit titles like Picture Perfect, Furnace, and those type of games. And with that, we're going to move on to our segment, The Things That Make the King Go Hmm.
This is the Board Game News, where King Berkey reflects on some of the current things happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but they're all things that made our king go, hmm.
Well, this is an interesting little segment. I'll let both of you chime in on it real quick, or we'll kind of move kind of quickly through this segment and not spend a lot of time on it. But the thing that made me go is I've been reading some articles, mostly through ICV2, which does a lot of reporting on different things. And Renegade Game Studios has worked out an arrangement with Hasbro Games to take over the publication of Axis and Allies. Now, we were talking with Grant about, he played Magic when he was a young man. And, when I was a young man a couple of years ago, I played the game Axis and Allies, man. We had that baby set up on the table for weeks on end, it seemed like. Yeah. And love that. Well, that was back when Milton Bradley and those, that was a big deal. I was even thinking about that the other day, that those games back then cost $50. And that was like a really big spend. And the first time I encountered a big rule book. But now you look at these games are, they've doubled in price, but that was 35 years ago. That's crazy. Well, the thing that made me go, is they're taking over the publication of it. The new one that they're coming out with is Axis and Allies World War I, I don't know if you can see that, 1914. Well, that's good camera work. Look at that. Glare and all. Oh, yeah. That's an effect. That's an artistic effect that I'm applying there.
Is it like Star Trek, the new version with the lens flare?
It's a lens flare. That's what it was. Abrams taught me that. We had a chat. Well, anyway, 1914. I think that's really cool that there's a World War I version, and with Renegade Game Studios, that it is probably more entrenched in the hobby board game. Hasbro has a lot of big box titles, but taking over Axis and Allies, and then they just announced that they got the rights to acquire and that's this economic hotel building classic game from years ago that I think is a brilliant game. And all of a sudden, they're taking that over, and I'm wondering how Renegade is going to take the component quality, the production, the marketing compared to how it's been done in the past in the big box format. What do you think about all that?
Well, one, I think that Renegade does a great job with their productions, so I'm sure the production of it is going to be great. You know, Axis and Allies seems to be a classic game that still has a lot of fans, you know, even in the hobby world, right? Like the hobby world loves to make fun of the monopolies and the risks and things like that a little bit. But it feels like Axis and Allies doesn't get that made fun of a bunch. So I'm sure the hobby world's going to embrace it.
Probably because it's a good game.
That's a fair point.
And then Acquire, man, that's an awesome game. Have you played that before?
Sid Meier's? No.
I think it. I think it is. No. It's Acquire is it Sid Saxon?
Oh yeah, one of them.
Well, anyway,
Sid's not. No.
It made me go, Kabuki Kid said it's Sid Saxon. I mean, it's a classic game. It's an awesome game. I have one of the very first ones that are in that bookshelf version. You know, it's got that old, 70s retro blue colored bookshelf cover. Acquire has been reprinted several different times. And so it's definitely a type of classic. And now Renegade bringing the board game touch to it. I think it's pretty cool. It made me go, I wonder what else is in the works.
Cluedo.
And why is Hasbro moving it off?
Fantasy Flight will buy Cluedo, and they will put Cthulhu in it. It'd be Cthulhu Cluedo. Now, you call it Clue, don't you? Clue. Cthulhu.
Yes, Clue.
It'd be Clue Cthulhu.
Yes, I knew that. Yes. Chief Inspector. Yes.
Is this your dog?
I wouldn't be surprised if Clue Cthulhu already exists, man. There's so many versions of Clue.
True.
Well, that's the thing that made me go, And on our last episode, we actually were talking about some of the games that we thought were the best of 2022. I'm interested in Grant's opinion on some of this stuff because, Grant, we're going to talk a little bit more about your channel and all that kind of stuff a little later, but you put out a couple videos that were best games of 2022 and best anticipated games of 2023, blah, blah, blah. So we did a poll, and Barry, do you want to introduce the poll from the last show? We had quite a few responses to this in the Board Geek Guild 2248.
We had some good suggestions for games from 2022, which were good, and some prospective ones for 2023. First question I asked on the poll was, what do you feel about the new releases of 2022? Over 50% of our clickers, as we call them.
The clickers?
We don't call them that. I just made that one up. Over 50% said, not the best, but still very good, which is kind of what I agree with. 21% said, don't care, I just want to play good games. And 10% we got better than any other year. So a small majority thought it was a better year than most. And then there was just some small numbers for some other stupid answers that I put. Did any new release from 2022 jump to the top of your best game ever list? 61% said no. 29% said one did. And then I said, please tell us what it is in the comments. And I can't recall if anyone did. And then 9% said a handful did, but please. Oh, yeah, it's the same thing. Please. Oh, I need glasses. But anyhow, and my third question was, are you someone who is looking forward to any games in 2023? And we got a pretty equal match. 51 said yes, and 48 said no. And if that doesn't add up correctly to you, it's because there's a point something or other in between. But
So-
if we scroll on down, we can have a look at some games which people have said, like Voidfall. That's very interesting, Tim. I don't know if that's a 22 or 23 release. But I remember you saying about Dead Reckoning, and Francesco said that jumped to their top 10 and is an evergreen for them. So, and they're looking forward to Unconscious Minds. Should I stop talking?
No, you can go read a
Yeah.
couple of them. real
I can
quick.
go and read a couple of them. Let's read the easy ones, which I can read in English. Vadim says, very much anticipating Unconscious Minds. Oh, that's the second one for Unconscious Minds. I haven't heard anything about that. Rene says, Heat, Pedal to the Metal, is now on the top of his list. And I would agree. After we did our podcast, I actually got a copy of Heat given to me for my 50th birthday. Oh, man.
I'm really looking
nice.
forward to playing that at Tantrum Con.
It's nice.
It's
would
so
have been
fun.
it would have been on my list. And I actually, Grant, I did watch your list, and I was very surprised by the choices on there. They're very different to everything else that I've seen. So
Yeah, man, I don't follow any rules.
No.
You can't put me in a box. What? They were
well, you
different,
are at the moment. I'm in the box. And Mosaic got a mention as a good game for 2022. So that's another one which agreed with you. And it's one that agreed with me. PJ, the pirate. No pirate jokes, please, because Grant won't laugh. He actually agreed with me about Caesar's Empire. Came out of nowhere without any hype, with no buzz. So, yeah.
Tim Douglas is in the chat. He said, Sworn was jumped to his number one.
Wow.
Kabuki Kid also talked about Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Surprisingly
one of my top games and has moved in the top 10 of all time. Actually, the top 5 is Foundations of Rome. I just absolutely love that game every time we've played it, and we've played it over and over, and I can't wait to play it again and do some of the
You say
extra
that,
things in there.
but it's like it's your number one, so it's like
Yeah.
it moved into my top 5. Yeah, it moved to number 1. It's like,
So tell us a little bit, Grant, about your top games in 22.
Well, I mean, it's always an interesting thing because the list shifts and changes over time. And I only played Foundations of Rome once, and I only played Heat Pedal to the Metal once in 2022. And so as I play those more, those might have made my top 10 of the year as well, because I love both of those games as well. But my top 2, and it's, boy, is it close for me, was Starship Captains from CGE and Wonderland's War. I'm somebody that likes a game that has both a decent amount of strategy, but also a little bit of luck and unknown. I want there to be a bit of excitement in the game. I'm not really a dry Euro player where you can kind of map out everything the whole way and you know exactly what's going to happen. I want there, I love the pulling in the bag in Wonderland's War. And if I get this one chip, it's over for you, and I love those big sort of table moments where you're like, yes, I got it.
Yeah.
I want there to be a little bit of that in my game. So I feel like both Starship Captains and Wonderland's War have some of that excitement in there.
I love that too. And I need a little bit of that random just so I can compete with my son, Josiah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like games, I'm a medium weight gamer. I don't get like crazy heavy. I want games that I can teach to other people. So one of my favorite games of the year was Acropolis from Hachette, because that game is a game that still has an interesting level of strategy and choices, but I could teach it to anybody. I can play that game with anybody. That's one of the reasons actually I really like Foundations of Rome too, is that you don't get a game that feels that impressive that is that easy to teach very often. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I played Foundations of Rome. I have some of my like nerdy game friends, but every once in a while we'll do a night with the wives sort of thing. And we played Foundations of Rome the other night with the wives, then they want most of the time we do sort of party game nights with them. And it was not inaccessible to them.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. We talked about complexity in games a little while back on a past show. And because of the size of collection, the amount of games that are coming in, and you almost get overwhelmed with it all. I have this stress of being able to remember all the rules. And if it's a big game, I do love the big games actually, but
yeah,
for me, I can't remember all this stuff. And so the family weight type of game, like we're discussing, really seems to fit really well with what's becoming my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at my top 10 last year, a lot of them are games that are still pretty accessible. Even games that have a decent amount of strategy, like, I think Creature Comforts was on my top 10 last year. There's a decent amount of strategy to that, but I still can teach that to anybody.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Ballinger's here, my good friend. I love this guy. Chris helped us at PAX Unplugged. He's an EMT, and him and I have become good friends. He's a backer of Game Toppers, but just an awesome guy. But he's in the chat here too. It says Acropolis was an immediate hit with my wife. Still waiting to get Foundations to the table. Oh, dude, you got to get on it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think if your wife liked Acropolis, then they will also like Foundations of Rome.
So yeah, I'm trying to understand. Chris. You've got no foundations on your Game Topper. That's normal. You need to put a table underneath the Game Topper.
Foundations of Game Topper.
Oh yeah,
it's the new game coming out by Game Toppers. Well, that was our poll. And I guess what's super fun here is we're going to do our game show with our special guest, Grant Lyon, comedian extraordinaire. And he's going to go through these 3 segments of our game show. Barry, do you want to move us into the next segment?
Okay.
I think we got a drop.
Someone in Babylon has been a very naughty person and been thrown into the dungeons of Babylon. But Berkey and Badger are nice people, and they're going to give them 3 questions to try and worm their way out of their prison sentence in What Game is Behind the Door?
What game is behind the door? Tell us the 3 parts of our game show with Grant.
Yes, so what we want to tell people first is why Grant is in our dungeon. And that's because he was caught graffitiing the walls in Latin, Romanus Dominus Eius Omus. Sorry.
All you need to know is I'm a naughty boy.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember the line from Life of Brian, but anyway, there you go. So yeah, Grant's in our prison. We're going to ask him 3 questions about games, of course. The first game we're going to ask him about is what was the last game that he purchased, and we're going to do this in a kind of 20 questions style, where we both ask a question, and Grant will give us a yes or no answer, and then he will show us a component. And we're going to do this only 5 times, and hopefully we can guess what that game is beforehand. How's your gaming knowledge, Berkey?
Oh, it's
Mine
huge.
is fading.
Huge.
Mine is fading. So there we have it. Let's play. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Oh, sorry. Wrong show. So your first question, Berkey, is...
first question.
Yes.
Would be my standard question, which everybody should probably know by now, but is it in this game? Is the game in the size of a Ticket to Ride box?
No.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving you yes/no answers, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that.
If you expound a little bit, we won't hold it against you.
Yeah. And then I'm showing you a component.
Not yet.
And Barry has a question.
I'll have a
first.
Got it.
We both get to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask, is it come in a standard Foundations of Rome size box? No, I'm not going to ask that question. That's going to be your new favorite question, I reckon. Okay, has this game been released in the past 2 years?
No.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cool. Now it's the first component.
All right. Boom.
It's a purple crayon.
Okay, that looks like a purple dry erase marker. That's what it looks like to me. So for all
I
our
say
audio
nothing.
listeners,
Yeah.
that's a purple dry erase marker, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
It's like, it is. See, so we got a little extra information there. See,
Normally
I
we
can
spend
tell
about-
he's already competitive. He wants out of the dungeon.
I do.
Normally we spend about 3 minutes explaining the component. Oh, the wood has been carved from a balsa of a,
Hey, you said the last game we purchased, and I am being an honest guest here. This is, in fact, the last game I purchased.
Well, and I think he hasn't purchased games in a long time because everybody wants him to review all of the games. So he's getting a boatload of games. You know, they back up a container right to his garage.
yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm going to
question
take a
number two.
shot at it, actually. I'm going to say, because you talked about all your comedian buddies and your party games, I'm saying Telestrations.
That is not correct.
Yeah.
No, I could have told you that. They're not purple, they're black pens.
Well, how do you know?
Because I've got Esquisse, which is French version of Telestrations. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
And
You
my
have a guess?
question is this a party game? Knowing the
Yes.
answer. Yes.
Okay, that's your second question.
Yep.
Is it a party game? My second question is, what did you say? You said yes?
No.
I think your second question was, is it Telestrations? I believe you've already had your second question.
No.
Sir?
I'm guessing the game. We get to guess the game then after we ask the question and see the component. So, so Barry, was that your second question? Is it a party game?
Yeah, there's not a board game called Is This a Party Game? You know, go and get your copy of Is This a Party Game
this a
or
party
not?
game?
I don't know.
Brought to you by Eggerspiel.
Yeah, what to you by Hasbro?
All right. Well,
Tumbleweed.
good grief. It's over 2 years old. It's not in a Ticket to Ride size box. It is a party game.
Contains purple pens.
Gosh. I'm going to say,
No, you're going to ask, not say.
I'm going to ask a question.
You really just had one question locked and loaded and no plan for anything else,
Well,
huh?
I don't like party games, so I don't have that many party games. But it could be. Okay, here's my question: is this a roll and write game?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, component number 2.
Boom.
Boom.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this looks like a little. Is it wood or is it a little piece of foam?
It's probably a little piece of felt, maybe foam. But
Okay,
yeah.
little black piece of foam felt. So it's like an eraser, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a dry eraser. Okay, that's what it is, everybody. Just so you know.
Are you going to guess the game?
I don't have a guess.
I'll just say off the top of my head, Pictionary.
Nope.
No, okay.
All right.
Okay, question number 3 then.
Question number 3. Is this a big box game that's sold at Walmart, Target, blah, blah, blah?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's not a big box store type of game.
Okay. My question
Maybe it
is-
once was, but I don't think so. Yeah.
But the store that sold it doesn't exist anymore.
No.
So this was like bought in 1921.
Yeah. This is the
Hey,
game
you
that you
told
bought
me to
after
try to
Magic.
stump you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, right.
Doing
Is
a good
this-
job.
Does this game contain drawing?
Yes.
All right, it's drawing.
I feel like Barry's close.
Barry, you got it. You can win it for us, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You can win it for us.
Have I ever? Component moment number 3. I'm going to win it by looking at the comments and see what Kabuki has written.
Oh, okay. It looks like a little cardboard tile, but it has like it's printed on one side, but it looks like it has like a sale tag written or graphic on it. Yellow background, kind of a bluish green sale tag. That's interesting.
Curious.
Kabuki Kid. Oh, I'm not supposed to be looking at that.
No, stop cheating.
I wasn't. Okay.
No clue so far.
Do you have a guess, Barry?
No.
Okay, I guess number 4. Wow. When did you buy this game?
No, it's a yes or no answer.
He doesn't know that.
Oh my god. Does this game have letters in it? No. Come on, Berkey. Think.
Think, tink, 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 tink. Yeah. I got nothing.
I've got a question for you. Does this game require a drawing to be drawn and passed on and then drawn on top of and passed on?
Yes.
You know that game, Barry.
I haven't got a freaking clue.
Yeah.
That was a surprisingly good question for someone who has no clue what the game is.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the mechanics and what would make it stand out.
Yeah, you did a review about this with those cards. It was called Imagination or something like that. There was a whole bunch of series of them.
Yeah, but there's no drawing in that. They're transparent cards which you animate or lay over each other.
Okay, my question is this like a large player count, like 4 to 8 players?
Yes.
Okay, I still don't know what it is, but I'm trying to help out.
No,
you're getting down to it here.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Component number 4. Looks like a little score pad with a red border. I can't read what's on the score pad.
Obviously,
that must be the drawing pad.
It can't be the drawing pad. If
it says artist, 1, lost, color.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have a clue.
No, but it's ringing some bells.
Okay, come on, ring my bell.
If you ring my bell.
All right, number 5.
Question number 5.
Is this in a very small box that is you can put in your backpack real easy?
Yes.
No. Okay. It's a small box for that game. I'm not going to get it. I don't think. I'm not going to get it. I was thinking it was that game, and it's not.
This game is ancient.
It is. No. Okay, so it's a game where you pass on stuff. I can edit all this out of the podcast, make myself sound good. Jeez, Lou. Come on. Question number 5 is, Grant. This is gonna bum you out. Does it come in a Foundations of Rose size box?
No, it does not.
Oh no! I thought I knew what the game was. Oh no!
Component number 5. Maybe this will help.
Last chance.
Okay. Yeah. What the
games.
heck? It's some kind of pink rule book. That's not a component.
It's
Yes, it
the
is.
last.
I call foul.
Well, okay, I can give you other components, but they are going to be duplicates of the ones I've already given because those are all the components in the game.
So
Okay.
a rule book.
It's an
So this
oink
is
game.
Grief.
If I have to do 5, this is the 5th component that's not a duplicate of.
Can you use that dry erase marker or that marker to write on the page the name of the game? I don't have a clue.
No, I'm going to pass as well.
All right, tell us what it is.
Enlighten us.
I mean,
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Look, I will then open the rule book.
Yep.
A fake
fake
artist goes to New York.
Yeah. One of Oink
Oh, my
Games'
goodness.
first popular games.
Wow.
A fake artist goes to New York. What the heck?
You never heard of this?
Never heard of it.
No.
So this is a 2011 game and is literally my most recent purchase. And I purchased it because I've played it before, but I was making a TikTok video about great games where you get to lie in. And this is and I just didn't have a copy of it. So I bought a copy like a week and a half ago so I could, include it in the video that I was making. Have you ever played The Chameleon? Do you know that game from Big Potato Games?
No, it looks like one of those games like deep underwater sea, like
It
the
is.
Japanese game, Oink Games.
But it is. But this is from 2011. So this was one of their first hits, This was one of their first games. It is a game have you ever played Detective Club? From
Yes.
Blue Orange. So
Okay.
in both The Chameleon and Detective Club, one person doesn't know the secret word.
Mhm.
One person doesn't know what's going on, but they have to BS their way into everyone else thinking that they know what they're talking about. So you pay attention to other clues people are giving and stuff like that, and then try to just come up with a, generic clue. Well, in this game, same premise, one person doesn't know the word, and you are drawing that word one line at a time. And so you have to draw a line that doesn't get you caught when you are the person that doesn't know what the word is.
Wow.
So
Wow, that
literally
looks kind of cool.
Yeah, the different colors there are the different, players that drew a line. And a line is it doesn't just have to be a straight line. A line is whenever you pull your pen off of the
Page
sheet. So you can, do some stuff. But it's a 5 to 10 player game that plays in 15 to 20 minutes. And it's fun to be that person that has to lie. It's also a little panicky, when you're like, oh boy, I can't indicate it with my face that I don't know what I'm doing right now. But I love The Chameleon. I love Detective. The Chameleon is doing it just with words. Detective Club is doing it with Dixit style artwork cards, and a fake artist is doing it with drawing.
Wow,
All
cool.
sort of the same premise.
Okay, which one do you prefer out of the 3?
I play The Chameleon the most often because it's the easiest probably to, some people get scared of drawing, some people get scared of that sort of stuff. So it's probably the easiest. I find maybe the most interesting to be Detective Club because you can kind of BS your way, but you put an artwork card, but then later on you can be like, no, that's not what I was saying with this artwork card. I was saying this.
Yeah.
So I find that one maybe the most interesting, and this is the most silly of the 3.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Good choice. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is the last game I bought. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So he's ahead of us now, Barry. We have to get the next 2.
That's not a
Otherwise,
problem.
he's free. He's free.
I've discovered a new game, which is cool. I played Detective Club and found it, daunting, but still fun.
Well, the hardest part is when you are the first person, you just give clues in turn order.
Yeah.
And when you are the person that
First
doesn't
player, and
know what's going
yeah.
on, and you're like, oh boy,
That happened to me.
Yeah.
I was explaining the game in French, and first round, first turn, I don't know what the word is. I'm not sure if I've got the rules down.
Yeah.
Because I've not translated them properly, and it's like, what the fudge did you do?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was a good laugh still. Okay, question number 2. Which game is Grant excited about getting? Maybe it wouldn't be a game that he backed on Kickstarter that hasn't arrived. It's a game that is coming, or someone is told is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to do this by drawing. Oh, what a coincidence!
Yeah, and I'm
one line at a time.
At drawing. I'm very bad at drawing, so joke's on you right here. So I'm gonna draw. How do you want me to show you stages of the drawing? I'm gonna draw it live right now.
Yeah, draw it live. We're Babble, because that's what we do.
Okay.
We babble and we talk.
Yeah, I was excited. I don't go and find out what's scheduled to come out very often. I don't know if people do that. I just learn about certain things, but most of the things that I'm excited about getting are games that I've backed on Kickstarter 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about getting Last Light when that comes, because I've heard so much great about it, and I think Gray Fox will do a good job of the production. So.
Well, I also like when we were talking about that sort of a little bit more accessible version of a type of game, right? Where I've heard Last Light described as like the more accessible, shorter playtime version of a 4X game.
4X game, yeah.
So I like that about it.
Kabuki says, "Do it live."
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
I'm more excited about games that my friends...
Why don't you have an overhead camera that's showing you drawing it like a real professional podcaster guy?
So here's the first part of the drawing.
Okay, there's a cloud in the sky, and it looks like an apartment building or some kind of building with a whole bunch of windows. There it is.
Yeah,
it's got a door.
Can I finish now?
It's a decent drawing.
Can I finish about what I'm excited about getting games?
Yeah, sure.
Games that my friends have designed, or games that my friends have, they're the publishers of, and then they show me the prototype and I play them and I go, wow, this is cool. And they say, yeah, we'll send you a copy later. And it's like, wow, cool. I can't wait. Especially if, these games are really good. I think that's the only profitable part about Kickstarter is when you've played the prototype and it blows your balls off without being kicked like 400 times.
I don't like that, Barry.
There was no rope included.
So is there a publisher that's producing something this coming year that you're excited about? Or
yeah. Well, my friend David, who you've met many times at Gen Con and Essen.
Yep.
He's publishing a game which
Okay, so now it's he's got arrows pointing into the building, but then there's a person, a stick man with, it looks like a computer and dollars, dollar signs. So it's like a checkout. So maybe this is like a department store, or maybe it's a computer lab or something like at a college. No, dollars. Yeah.
And there's a cloud. Be careful of the cloud.
But there's arrows. He's got arrows going into the building, but one of the arrows goes down to this thing he's drawing with the stick man and the computer.
Oh, so is this a picture about the actual mechanics of the game?
No, it's
no.
Yeah, tell him.
Here, I've added. I'm trying to help you here.
Oh, and there's no tree.
There's no trees. There's no trees. I don't like that.
Or there's no clouds with legs.
Is it a mushroom cloud? No, not a mushroom cloud.
Okay.
Well, there's a cloud in the sky, but then he's got an X over a tree. It looks like a tree.
I was just going to say, are there any more lines coming onto this piece of paper? There's no clouds.
Oh, there's no cloud. Well, what the hell is that?
Wow.
Beat that out.
I can give you a clue.
Yeah, give us a clue on that.
You don't want it, Barry?
I like playing
Well,
a game
draw the
and
clue.
not having like my dad let me win, you know?
I'm not letting you in. I don't have to give you a clue if you don't want one.
Well, he's excited about getting this game, and this is okay. So money's involved, and there's a building, there's a computer, stickman. He's saying no cloud.
Maybe I can. I'm just
maybe
trying
that
to...
was something else. It wasn't a cloud.
No,
It was something else. Maybe he didn't know how to draw a building. He thought it looked like a cloud.
We needed some perspective, so you had to draw something in the background to draw something in the foreground. You know?
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
That Da Vinci skill.
Maybe that was from the last time he did this.
Yeah. There are more lines going onto the paper.
Well, it's making me wonder about mobile markets because that's a business. Okay. No cloud.
No clouds
cloud.
allowed.
No cloud. He drew a circle around the cloud that he drew before and then put a big hash mark through it saying, quit talking about the stupid cloud. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, unless there's a penalty if you say cloud.
Or maybe he's got the box just off the side and he's been drawing the box art cover, copying it, line by line, and he didn't see that this cloud was not cloud.
What's the person doing with the computer and dollar signs? So is it like a supermarket game?
This is zombie. Can't you see? He's like the arms out, zombie style. Come on. So it's a zombie game
excited about getting it. Is there anything else you're going to draw, or are you done?
No, I mean, this is about the level of my skill right here. So if this isn't communicating it, I don't know what else will.
Okay.
Clue
he's got a circle on the bottom corner of the building that has an arrow going into the building. So maybe there's a cloud going into the building.
My clue, my one clue that I will give you, this drawing is describing the title.
Okay.
Title. Okay.
So, according to Kabuki, it's Zombie Self-Checkout Line. The title.
Wow. It's describing the title. Okay.
In-house
hospital.
Money machine.
Dice hospital.
Dice, there's no dice there. Where do you see a dice?
I don't know.
It's the cloud.
I'm brainstorming with you here, buddy.
You're brainstorming.
Work with me.
I'm working with you.
It could be. It looks like an apartment, but it could be a school. It could be a hospital.
Indians attack house to get man to run out with his computer and money in a box.
Computer buildings. Money. Nah, crap. I don't know what's going into this building, though. All these arrows, that's key.
It could be in. It could be enter the dragon. No,
okay,
the dragon.
Enter the building. Enter the lair.
What's different about this than about these?
You go in and then you don't. It's cancellation.
Yeah, some of those are in one location and some of them are in the other location.
Some are in one location, other in another location.
It's an escape room? No, it's not an escape room.
When I say it, you guys are going to feel silly.
That's all right.
Because he's excited about getting it.
Escape from the building with no clouds.
You want more
from
clues?
New York. Yeah, let's give us another clue.
Oh,
for all the listeners, we want.
okay.
I don't think.
That's all right. I can edit it out.
There's a million people waiting on bated breath right now.
Kabuki's stuck as well. So
yeah, it's a smaller box game, not Fake Artist Goes to New York small,
Wink
but
size.
but smaller box game.
Yes, Kabuki. I'll do it for the listeners.
I believe it had an Essen release last year, but it will be coming to North America this summer.
North America this summer. And you're excited to get it.
I am.
Oh, Barry, you got to think about that if it's Essen release. I tend to not.
Oh, yeah, but I work at Essen, so I'm like at one stand. And so the only games I see is the stand games on my stand, the games on the stand to my right, games on the stand to the left.
All right. You better tell us.
It's from Cosmos.
Cosmos. Mobile Markets.
No.
Oh, it's a good idea, actually. Yeah. Sorry, I laughed, but it's like, kind of ties in.
All right, Cosmos. I don't know what they're doing. There's a Reinhard Knizia game. Oh, My City?
No.
That's an old game as well.
It is not the outside. It is the inside. And you're working. Inside Job.
Oh,
Cosmos.
Oh,
Never heard
good
of it.
grief.
Never heard of it. Inside Job, I'm super excited about. Think
Okay.
of The Crew, but with a hidden traitor.
Okay, wow.
Oh.
Tell us a little bit about it, what you know.
So it is a cooperative trick-taking game, but with a hidden traitor element in the game. And I both love The Crew and I love hidden traitor, sort of hidden role type of stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm a social gamer at my core. I mean, that's the reason I play games, is because I love the social aspect of them. And hidden traitor, hidden role games are always great for that social aspect. And I've always really liked trick taking. My older sister, trick taking is her probably favorite mechanism. So we did a lot of trick taking, just classic card games when we were growing up, but now have gotten into other ones like The Crew and things like that. So when you mix those two things together, for me, I'm super stoked about it. So that was my number one anticipated game of 2023.
Well, I kind of love the fact that you're bringing some games that a lot of us aren't even thinking about for some reason, but they're on your radar, and that's kind of cool.
Like I told you, I don't fit into boxes. Okay, no matter how much you do.
Boxes.
Yeah. So Inside Job is literally what I'm like very, very excited for this year.
Cool. That's exciting. Part 3 then, Sir Barry.
Okay.
Looks
Now
like he's getting out.
It does.
Unless we get this on the first guess.
Yeah.
Then we break our rules and keep them in
We
the
always
dungeon.
break our rules by asking questions which
I'm
don't
the king.
But you
include a
see
yes
how
or no answer.
my drawing describes Inside Job, right? It's
I
not the outside, it's
That's
the
a bunch of
inside.
crap.
Inside,
bunch of
yes. Job, zombie at computer with money.
Yeah, he's working. He's getting money. He's working on,
Well, and that's why it was canceling out the trees and the clouds. It's not outside,
Yeah.
But this is like on the quantum level. This is for,
That's right. I'm going to listen to the podcast and then edit it so it makes it sound like we won.
I didn't mean to stump you guys so hard.
do sound effects, Barry.
Do
to
it.
Make
Do it.
make
Oh, yeah, the sound effects would be
you
there.
know,
the sound
yeah,
effects.
lots of sound effects.
Okay, the third and final question, just for a laugh now. What is Grant's current favorite game? The one he's always dreaming about playing right now instead of talking to us. And he's going to do this with 5 one-worded clues. So give us a word, they make a pause, and we'll try and guess before giving another word. Take it away, Grant, with word number 1.
All
Current
right.
favorite game.
Current favorite game. Salad.
Oh,
Don't say
salad.
Don't
But-
say it,
but it-
Turkey. Does it have points?
Let us explore.
Leave the bad jokes out of this, honestly.
Okay.
Salad.
He's really peppering us with these.
Yeah.
You said one-word clues.
Yeah,
It's
one-word clues.
One-word
You
clue.
haven't
So he
made
said-
you haven't made your own job easy. I will remind you, you are in charge of the rules of these games, and you have made your own job
Okay,
hard.
so I get it. This is a Stefan Feld game, and I'm going to take a guess, and the guess is going to be Merlin.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because he
One
said
word.
salad, point salad. He wouldn't use the word of the game because it's not point salad, even though that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One word
You
is
have a
like
guess?
a vinaigrette for
Yes.
for
Just a
Yeah.
All right.
splash.
You ready for the next word?
Barry,
'cause
do you
I
have a
haven't got
guess?
clue. I haven't got a clue.
Okay. Word two.
Regions.
Regions. Regions.
I'm going to
Point salad regions. Okay, I got a guess.
Go on.
Castles of Burgundy.
Nope.
Ah! Okay.
Okay,
would've
next
said-
word.
Yeah, go for it.
Italian.
Italiano.
Oh.
Regions.
No.
Salad. Point salad. Ooh, maybe it's not Stefan
No.
Feld.
I was thinking it was like a Uwe Rosenberg game. Kind of Agricola style with salads.
Well, I have a guess.
I can't think of the latest one. Go on.
I'm gonna guess he says regions, but I'm just gonna go outside of Stefan Feld and go with Concordia.
Nope.
No, there's no salads in Concordia.
Well, there's all kinds of points. You can get points different ways, kind of.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the salad is actually a word for point salad. All right, not like yeah.
It's a Stefan Feld game. Okay.
Shut up, Barry.
Okay, number 4.
Glass.
Glass.
Glass Road is Uwe Rosenberg.
But
Italian.
he can't use a word in the name of the thing. So
No.
glass. There's a stained glass game. Point salad. Points. Or he said salad.
You know what? He's going to tell us the game. It's going to be like a kick in the nuts.
Could be like a commercial.
Yeah.
I don't know about Europe, but it is a new release in the United States.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say Marrakesh.
Nope.
I'm going to say next clue, please.
Boats.
Boats. Okay, so let's just review these clues. We got salad. We've got, what was your second clue?
Regions.
And I'll give you the clue that salad
Region.
was referring to point salad.
Okay, so salad, region,
Italian.
Italian,
Glass and boats.
and glass,
And salad.
boat. See,
And
I
glass.
would have said something like that azul or the stained glass windows, but boats. Yeah. What's the game that has the boats?
Battleships.
Bruges.
Nope, it's a new release in
You said
North
new
America.
Crap.
I believe it came out a little while ago in Europe, though. A little while ago, meaning, still newish, but
This
not
is
a
his
brand new
favorite
release.
game, and it's got boats.
Well, it's my favorite game currently.
Currently,
You said
yeah.
the thing that we are currently really into, and this is
Yeah.
a game. Here's a little slip-in plug. I make a monthly video for Rado Runs Through on my top 5 games of every month. I'm somebody that plays about 20 to 25 new games every month, and so this was my number 1 game of January, and I'm still
Okay.
enjoying playing it a lot. Don't cheat and look it up right now.
No, I'm not looking up. I'm
I'm
just scrolling through BGG. Find names. I've got a terrible memory for names and faces.
Yeah.
I don't
Games.
think
My other
I have
clue-
this.
My other clue is Italian refers to the name of the game.
Well, I'm thinking of like
No.
like if it's Italian, it could be Roman, but it probably is like those gondolas. But I'm trying to remember what kind of game would have a gondola
in it.
There was a game called
There
Gondola.
was. Yeah.
Um,
I was. Yeah. No, I've got no clue.
Designed by famous designer Dr. Reiner Knizia.
Oh, is it the Gizia? Maybe it's Egyptian here, but glass. Yeah, I lost it. I don't know.
I guess a sixth word would be diamond in it.
Diamonds in the sky.
Diamonds are forever.
Well, this is my favorite game right now, fellas. This will be another one. You're like, I've never even heard of this.
We're gonna have to start watching your videos.
Okay, I'm stumped. Did anybody else get it?
Anybody in the chat?
Someone says Caesar. Chris said Caesar.
Kabuki says Murano.
That's old. This is a
Nope.
Reiner Knizia game, so
Reiner
Tigris and Euphrates. That's old.
Nope, it's a new release in the United States from DeVere Games.
Oh, I think I do know this.
Go
Go ahead and tell me, but I can't remember what it is.
It is a card drafting area majority game.
Okay.
So you are drafting cards and placing your little glass diamonds out on the board in 6 different regions to score points in a ton of different ways all over the different regions. Each region scores points differently. In one of those regions, you have little boats that you are sailing forward in area. And this is the super fun game, Milli Fiori.
Yeah.
Milli Fiori. I have heard about
from
it.
Reiner Knizia and DeVere Games.
I love what DeVere Games is doing.
Oh, I do too, and I love this game. And so that's what I mean. It's listed at 2021 on BGG, but I know for a fact it just came to North America in January, the beginning of January.
DeVere is publishing it.
Yeah, well, they're publishing at least the English version of it.
Wow.
So,
yeah, Schmidt-Spiel.
Well, I'm amazed at how you've picked games that we were not anywhere near our radar.
Well, I'll tell you, this game has a bad cover and a bad title, and boy, is it a fun game.
Look at
I
that.
did see people. I saw multiple people playing it this past weekend. I went to Strategicon, which is one of the bigger conventions in Los Angeles, and I did see multiple tables playing this. So it's not just me playing it. But yeah, I don't think it's doing itself any favors with the title and the cover, because you don't really get much out of that.
Yeah.
But if you like card drafting, it's super fun. And this, think about the type of gamer I've talked about I am as well. This is a game that has a bunch of strategy, but I can play it in 45 minutes and I can teach it to anybody. Now, there are a lot of different scoring options. Each of those 6 regions is going to score points in different ways. So you teach it to a new player, it might take them half of the game to really wrap their head around it. But because it's so quick, you can play it, multiple times in a row and stuff. And it's literally, we all draft a card, we pass our cards, then we play the card we drafted, put out one of our diamonds onto a string, and you score points literally every single turn. So it is very satisfying in that way. there are some turns you are going to score 1 point, and some turns you're going to score 50 points. You know,
Wow.
by the end of the game, a winning score is going to be something around 250 points, you know?
Wow.
And so, but there's all those really satisfying combos, right? Where you're like, oh, this putting me this here gets me an extra turn, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to get a bonus over here for taking that, which is going to get me another turn. And, you know, you could just sort of, I love those cascading combo
where you
effects
feel
in
clever
games.
moments. Yeah.
Yeah, where you're just like, ha, 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 I'm the king of the world. And so, you know, some of my favorite games are games that have cascading combo effects like that.
I don't remember the last time. I don't know if it's ever happened where our prisoner has stumped us in all 3 games. I mean, I think we're going to have to elevate him. He's no longer a prisoner. He's the new dungeon master.
Well, happy to do so.
You're our first dungeon master, Grant Lyon.
Had you and you hadn't even heard of like those 3 games much, huh?
That blows my mind. Yeah. Well, and it stumped the people in the chat here too. It'll be interesting to see about the poll Barry puts together on our Board Game Geek Guild 2248 about all of this.
Yes.
And we'll see if other people knew about these.
The poll is going to be what clothes should our dungeon master wear? And how often should he be on the show?
And does he have a rope in between his legs? For his commercials.
I mean, there are other games I'm excited about for this year too that you probably have heard of. I'm very excited for Septima from Mind Clash Games. I love the witch theme, and then there's another one that has that sort of intrigue where you don't know what another player is playing, and what they play is going to affect what you play. I'm very excited about Tesseract from Smirk and Dagger as a cooperative game, a dice manipulation game. I'm very excited about, man, there's just a ton, right? That every year that come out that you're excited about.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're going to move on to our Babble topic, but before we do it, our other wonderful, luxurious sponsorship is Game Toppers. Shameless plug because I'm the owner of Game Toppers, but I've got something exciting to announce. We mentioned at the top of the show, we are going to TantrumCon 2023 in Charlotte, North Carolina. This convention has sold out, but we decided to do something fun because March Madness is about to begin. And for those of you that like the NCAA tournament, and guess what we're doing from February 23rd to March 31st, you get 15% off all accessories. That includes our cup holders, dice towers, mat storage bags, our game mat racks, our game totes, and our game hall game bags, but also our premium thematic game mats. And not only do you get 15% off, you also get a free mat storage bag, and everything's in stock, and it ships within 2 to 3 business days. So there's an opportunity to take advantage of a bunch of savings at Game Toppers. You go to shop.gametoppersllc.com, but we also have some package specials where you can get your Game Topper. You can get our dining covers, our leg kits, our storage bags, a plethora of cup holders with our new collapsible cup design. And you can save hundreds of dollars by buying our packages. And they're all in stock. You can take advantage of them. Some of the models are going very fast. So you might want to take a look at those. If you're interested in looking at a premium game table, we have our premium walnut, the luxuriant oak, and the standard military grade powder coat, all available. And that's available at GameToppersLLC.com. Tim just said he's got the pirate theme mat on his topper right now.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, yours will also put the pirate mat's awesome, right?
You can't see it, so.
And you know why the pirate mat is awesome.
No, we've got a professional comedian here, and you're telling that. You know what? And now it's time for the Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's Board Game Babble.
Well, we are gonna babble in Babble-Lot because that's what we do. And our special guest, Grant Lyon, professional comedian and board game comedian. I've had the opportunity to meet Grant at several of the conventions, and this is one of these people. When you meet him, he's just full of life, and he's super fun to talk to. The thing I noticed about you, Grant, is when I talk to you, you were generally concerned about what we were talking about. You know, you're looking me in the eye and we're just having a great conversation, and your mind wasn't somewhere else. You seem very genuine, and I just thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, I said, I really would like to see, you know, you work with us at Game Toppers. And so we started talking about that, even for you to be one of our media representatives and sponsoring your channels. So
yeah, I think my Game Topper is showing up later today, actually.
Okay, cool.
I'm very excited.
yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. It's
well, tell us a little bit about your channel and what you're doing in the hobby. I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you personally about your comedic stuff too, but tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the game space.
Well, when I first started, it was literally like all my shows were canceled and I was playing a lot of board games with my roommates. And I was like, oh, I need a creative outlet. I need a way to write some jokes and stuff like that. So I started just making sort of short and funny-ish videos about the games I was playing, because I thought, oh, you know, this is somebody else, you know, might want to check out some new games right now too. And, you know, one of my, I think my two guiding principles from the beginning were, one, I'm going to make it like funny, and two, I'm going to keep it short, because there's a lot of people that are doing 20-minute videos about games. I don't, that's being covered. I don't need to do that. You know, and so some of it's like fitting when you look at the hobby and you go, okay, what's a niche that I can fill? What's something that's not being done? And so I think my real thought was, when I first started doing videos, is I want to be the place you come first. You watch 10 videos and you go, oh, those 3 games sound interesting. Those 10 videos only took me 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but now I have a jumping off place. I want to go look up more about those 3 games. And now I'll go watch a 20-minute video about those 3 games, but I got to watch short videos to see what I was interested in first. And so that was my idea, was be a starting place where you can just watch some short form, you're not going to get a ton of in-depth stuff, but you're going to get an idea of why you would like this or not. And so when I first started doing it, I was making videos on my YouTube channel. And YouTube is a good place, but also a place that does appreciate longer form stuff more, which is never what I wanted to do. And so then about a year after I was doing stuff on YouTube with board games, I also started doing stuff on TikTok. And that's where I've gotten to be the most popular. You know, on TikTok, I have 160,000 followers and get over 1 million views a month on that platform, because that is a short form platform. So it fit the voice and the style I was already developing in the space. So yeah.
Yeah. Now you do these segments too, and it's Grant Gets Games or GGS?
Oh, it's Grant's Game Rex. That's what I call my channel, Grant's Game Rex. So
Grant's Game Rack.
Yeah, you know, because the whole idea was I'm not going to be a reviewer. I'm going to be a recommender. I'm going to recommend games that I like, that I think other people will like. So I don't make videos about games that I don't like. I play a lot, and people have sometimes at times said wow, you like everything. And I'm like, no, I don't like a lot. I just don't make content about the things that I don't like. You know, I suppose for me, it was I I don't need to like trash somebody else's hard work. I'll just not talk about it.
Yeah,
You know?
I hear you.
So yeah.
Yeah, Chris Ballinger says he always looks forward to Grant's monthly game expansion release videos.
Yeah, so that ended up coming out of a suggestion from a viewer was like, hey, you like, just based on the games I like, you're already seeing it here in this podcast. He was like, hey, you like a lot of, more casual games and things like that. There are so many people doing videos on games coming to Kickstarter. There's not that many videos about games coming to retail. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. You're right. I like a lot of the games coming to retail. I personally don't want to wait for Kickstarters. So then I started doing a monthly video on the best games coming to retail. And it's really ballooned into something where now I have probably 400 publishers or so that I communicate with to find out about their retail releases. And stuff like that. So I keep a whole spreadsheet, and I keep tabs. And when I go to conventions and I talk to people and I take down notes on all the stuff they have coming out about which time of year they're coming out, so I know who to follow up with and all this sort of stuff. So every month I do about 25 of the best games coming to retail that month.
Yeah, that monthly video is one I really get a kick out of. I saw you too. I caught part of your stand-up gig at BGG Con, and because I missed it when I was at Tantrum Con, and you've got a segment on Kickstarters that I thought was really hilarious. Tell us a little bit of, I don't know, maybe give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, the joke is essentially Kickstarter is the only business model that we will put up with in that way, where it's just delayed constantly, and you would never order a pizza and they're like, it'll be there in 30 minutes or less. Just kidding, it'll be there next Tuesday. And you're like, no, but I'm hungry now. And they're like, I'm sorry, we get our pepperoni from China. There's nothing we can do. We got to get, China has the cheapest pepperoni. So, yeah, there's more to it, but that's a little taste for you.
Do you have your comedy sketches for the board game stuff? Do you have that actually published on your YouTube channel?
No, intentionally not. Because it is, as soon as I put the special out, the live show is done.
Yeah, right.
And so I would like to exhaust the live show and potentially within doing the live show, also be writing a second hour of board game material so that when I film a special and put it out, now I have a different hour of material to tour with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. You have quite a bit different little sketches within this, hour-long show, right?
Well, it's an hour of jokes all about board games. Not the easiest thing to write about one specific topic. And now I'm saying I'm not just writing an hour, I'm trying to write 2 hours on it before I shoot a special.
Well, I from what I heard, it definitely made me giggle quite a bit, and the audience really loved it. And it's like you're an equal opportunity a prankster, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. It's like there are certainly lines that hit close to home to people, but that's part of the idea is that, this is a shared experience. I know one line I have that people have been like, "Whoa, that was edgy," but it's like, it's true. I say, some people talk about this as a hobby, but I don't think it's a hobby for a lot of us anymore. And when it changes from hobby to lifestyle is when, if you die, it becomes a burden on your loved ones. And that's where a lot of us are right now.
What are we going to do with all these games?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a deal. My wife would have, my son would probably take care of the game room and divvy it up properly, but
yeah.
Yeah, my mum was like, "What am I going to do with all this fishing gear and the boat?" And
yeah,
Well, that's awesome. Well, the thing that we Barry had listed a few questions. We wanted to talk about humor and comedy. Having laughs and giggles in the board game space while we're playing board games. Barry had a few things he wanted to kind of cover here with you too. So go ahead, Barry.
Well, what? Yeah, I'm reading. Sorry, very, very slowly. The eyes are getting a bit fatigued. Yeah. Do we like having a laugh around the table, or do we prefer a stone cold ambience and concentrate on every strategic move? And
Are you talking about me personally?
Well, all of us.
Yeah,
well, I definitely want to laugh. If you don't want any laugh, I'm not the person to play games with. Because even when I'm doing like a strategic game, a heavy strategic game, I'm gonna talk trash and do some stuff in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've all been in different environments, different game groups, and where like Sheriff of Nottingham is one of my favorite games. Our family loves this thing, but our family is a bunch of hams. So whenever we play games, we immediately jump into character, and we're doing impersonations and screwing around. And that particular game, Sheriff of Nottingham, if you play that with a bunch of straight folks, they just don't engage at that level, which is fine. That game kind of falls flat.
Yeah.
I would say that I do like the stone cold moment, but only when I'm explaining the rules. There's nothing worse. As you said earlier, someone's making jokes as you're explaining the rules. You will then lose track and you might forget a rule, which later on in the game, someone will bite your ass for it and say, well, you didn't tell us about that. I didn't know I could do that. And it's like, I lost the game because, And so I like stone cold silence when I'm explaining a game.
I can appreciate that as well.
Especially when there's someone that asks a question which you're just about to explain. There's like, okay, so what happens if I move it? Look, I'm just about to say that because it's the next part of the rules. So if I move to shut the fudge up.
Yeah.
Explain the game.
I have a guy that's in my game group now who likes games and has gotten deep into games with me, but was a newer gamer during the pandemic, had never really played modern games. And the first time, he's a buddy of another buddy that was, an original game group member. And the first time he came, I was like, bro, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to punch you in the face. I will explain all of the rules. Do not ask me a question about a different rule every single time I say one rule. Yeah. And now he's gotten better where he's like, I learned that you are going to cover everything and I don't need to ask everything along the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I've had that too. And there's times that once it's certain game mechanisms, you can almost anticipate something. So you're ready to ask a question about that will subsequently be covered. But it all depends on the people that are teaching games. Sometimes they don't teach a lot of things, and then you feel like you're going to miss out on something and not play well.
Yeah.
And I can't punch my new gaming partner in the face because he's only 5.
He's
only 5. But he's already like, what happens if I move that? And it's like, no, let me explain. Okay, there. So yeah.
Well, I think I think gaming personally, it's all about the experience, and it's less for me now about the competitive, strategic nature of winning games. When I was younger, I was really competitive. And so I always tried my best. And it doesn't mean that I'm not competitive still. I still am. And I try hard. But generally speaking, now I value the experience. And to me, adding fun-loving humor and for us to be able to engage at that level increases the experience for us because it's just about having fun. And I remember those moments the most. I don't remember those moments where we played that heavy Euro and I crunched the whole time. Even if I've won, really, it's like those aren't the ones that are most meaningful to me anymore.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I intentionally avoid certain situations where I don't sign up for tournaments because I am competitive enough that I will be a jerk in that. And I know that about myself. So I'm just not going to do that. You know?
Well, you talked about you played Magic years ago too, and you know it's different groups have stereotypes for that too. But Euro players tend to have a stereotype maybe within the hobby that they're really intense and you know they've got a perfect information games, for instance.
Yeah.
They don't lend themselves to much humor.
Yeah.
Maybe
the only time there's no humor at the table here is when the wife and I are playing a game that we play regularly against each other. So either Pastis or Splendor or Ticket to Ride, and it is a competition. And again, as you said, you don't really remember them apart from the fact that you won or you lost. You don't remember the fun moments that you have playing the game. So but it's just like competition with me and the wife. It's just like head to head. She wants to kick my ass and I want to kick hers.
When I play Ticket to Ride with my wife, she's like intense about Ticket to Ride. And if you take one of her routes, she doesn't like it. And I find it hilarious.
Yeah.
I did a TikTok recently that did pretty well about the reason Ticket to Ride is one of the best games to introduce people to games is because either it will make people get super into board games or it will make them cry and never want to play another board game.
So
that's pretty cool.
Another question: is humor interjected into games or their rules a welcome sight?
It is, but to a point. It has to be rules first, I think. But then you can add some jokes into the rule book and things like that. I love it when games do that. It's when they try to do it too much at the expense of actually explaining the rules well that it's not welcome. You know, I find one of the most underrated games of all time to me is a game called Mechanica from Resonum. And it's a super fun
Where does
game.
he come up with these things?
Yeah. Resonum, Resonum's a great company, a good hobby company. You'll see it things like Gen Con and PAX Unplugged and stuff. But Mechanica is a game, and it's actually a very puzzly game about where you are creating assembly lines for robots. And they do a good job. The rulebook explains the game, but it will also have moments where it's like, when you're done creating the robots and they can take over the world. When you're done creating robots and they are, just little moments like that.
Yeah.
Where it still explains the rules, but there's a funny moment along the way. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It just has to be very pick and choose when you're going to do it.
But that theme isn't funny anymore.
Yeah. Dungeon Pets does that well as well. It's just like, it's part of the rules, but they put it into a jokey term, like having to clean up the poo from the creatures.
Yeah.
Well, you like Galaxy Trucker, Vlado Shavaddle rule book. I get a kick out of. But those are kind of like side little notations that add some flavor to it.
Yeah. Again, there's a really nice thing in Dungeon Pets where you have to all the pets get cycled, and so like you clean up the board and you discard some creatures, and it says nicely in the rule book that they go to creature heaven, but all of a sudden some meat appears at the supermarket. It's like it's a cycle of life, but it works. It's comedy, but it also is thematic, and it also explains why these resources are moving around on the main player board. And It's perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
But games like Munchkin, where the jokes keep coming up every time. Oh, I've got the singing sword again. It's not funny anymore. That's
that doesn't add a lot to me. I don't know how often people that play a lot of games even read flavor text on cards and stuff. It's just like, do you always?
Well,
I feel like I rarely do, honestly.
It tends to, if it's the historical type games, I always want to read it, and I always want to have a voice.
All right.
You know, an impersonation voice with it or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, I think one thing that's kind of interesting, Barry put this question, but he said, humor at the expense of another player. Does this come with consequences? I've been in environments before where there was kind of the wise guy making cracks, but sometimes it was just inappropriate. And yet he was thinking it was funny, but it wasn't funny. How do you feel about navigating that? You know, because there's that, like, humor is subjective, kind of like art is subjective, all these kind of things. But it's like some people don't have a filter and know who they're with and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, does it come with consequences? Yeah, you're not going to get invited to game night.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I actually it upset the the lead artist at a publishing company by insinuating they were playing a bit too slowly, and then you know, after the second round and then the third round and the fourth round, and then the other two players joined in, and it got to a point where this chap left the table in a storm, and it was like, oh crap, I work for this guy.
Yeah, that's where apologies are in order.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But
well, we had a situation a few years back, and we had several gals at the table. One of them was my daughter, and this one guy was just talking down to them, but trying to put kind of a humorous, you know, inflection to it. But it was like, wasn't okay. And finally, after a couple of times, I just said, listen, that's not okay here. I don't like it, and you need to cut it out. And, you know, I haven't invited that person back, and it's like, I don't know where that always comes from. So it's like, whatever. But I think it's important that our humor should be lighthearted, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be at the expense of. I mean, that's just also not good humor in general. I don't think that that's very good humor in stand-up either. I mean, one of the big things we talk about in stand-up is you want to punch up, not punch down. You know, punching down is like, I can't tell you how many people have jokes in Los Angeles about like homeless people, where it's like, look, they're already having enough. They don't need some dumb person in a bar make it like that. I get nothing out of jokes like that, and it doesn't feel good or anything like that. You want to punch up. You want to hit the establishment. You want to hit stuff like the people with power. You know, those are the people that you're making fun of.
Yeah, I like that, punch up. Yeah,
but then again, I've had a situation where that actually does work. The joke was on me. A designer was teaching us a game, and my French friends and I were learning it, and he was playing it, and I became the punching bag of the jokes. Basically, it was a co-op game, and my character was having the snot beaten out of him, and it was jokes about the English, and it was jokes about, you know, oh yeah, let Barry be the punching bag, but it was like tactical at the same time, and you know, I could take the jokes, and I was laughing along, and we got through this game, and it was fun. It was an enjoyable experience. I was even laughing at the jokes that kept coming out. There's like all these French phrases for insulting English people, where you know,
I think
you killed Joan of Arc. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, right.
Were these all people that you were friends with and that you knew?
Apart from the designer.
So
who was making a lot of the jokes, but that was it. But you know,
I think there's a difference when you're amongst friends versus when you are
again with strangers,
people that you haven't played, or even acquaintances and stuff like that. I mean, I get like that. People do this to me all the time as a comedian. they think they can just make fun of me
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh, well, that's what you do. And it's like, no, I don't know you. If we're friends, you can make fun of me. That's fine. But if you're just like, oh, I'm going to like rip this guy and we just met, I'm not cool with that because I'm like, we're not friends.
Yeah, and again, they've probably researched as well, so they know who you are. They know that you talked about this, that, and the other, and you do this and that and the other. And so it's easier for them to rip into you than it is for you to rip into a complete stranger. Not that you'd probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like razzing people, and when you razz someone that's a friend, what's friendly razzing humor, if you will, versus something that's just not appropriate. And so I think it's important as gamers too that we build relationship with people first before we especially do anything that is at their expense.
Yeah, I married my one. And I can't insult her anymore while we're playing games. I know her well, but no, I can't make any jokes about this, and I can't. Game over. Put it back in the box anyway.
So tell us about a game that you think brings the most humor of any game that you like to play, that always gives you lots and lots of laughs.
Well, currently it's Green Team Wins. I love how social Green Team Wins is, and it always just lends itself to a bunch of trash talking and making fun of people's choices. For anybody that doesn't know, Green Team Wins is a game where a question comes up, people write an answer, and majority gets points. And so there's both trash talking when you don't agree with the majority and when you're making fun of someone who voted the only way one thing, stuff like that. So for me, that game is all about the moments outside of the actual playing of the game.
Yeah, it's about the correlation of ideas from words. It's a bit like plucking pears. It does the same thing. It's like, well, why did you pair those two together? Because that's a chicken and that's a packet of Smarties that look like eggs. It's like, what?
Yeah.
For me, it's code names. It's just we play regularly in pairs, and it's so much fun to insult the other pair. Especially if the other pair includes your wife and they couldn't get a clue, and it's like, but again, close knitted, played this game infinitely with them, and it is the code names itself is the joke. It's like they come over and they want to play because they're real gamers. They want to play something like Alone or Batman or Defenders of the Realm, but no, we haven't got time because we've got the kids, and it's like. Code names it is, and that's the joke. And then the game starts playing, and it's like, you didn't get that word. Oh, you game is just full of insults but lightheartedly, and it's so funny. So funny.
Yeah, I think for us it's Sheriff of Nottingham, because we jump into Sherwood Forest characters. We're all just jump into it and doing all of the bluffing and the double bluffing and quoting The Princess Bride, and something always happens. But it's when we play The Godfather Corleone's Empire, immediately we turn into a bunch of mobsters, or if we're playing Nothing Personal, and all of a sudden it just lends itself to just crazy laughs, and we've always had a lot of fun with doing that. And but someone that doesn't get that, they can kind of feel on the outside, I suppose. But for our group, it's a big laugh,
Yeah.
I want it to be my big laugh, but nobody plays it properly with me.
Well, do you think there's an element of game design that lends itself to this particular, getting humor into the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's creating moments of debate. If you can create moments where people have to justify why they picked what they picked or something like that, that gets conversation going. And I think those are the most funny, memorable moments, not the thing that the game did exactly. Like, for me, a game like Cards Against Humanity is not very funny and not very memorable because there's no agency. I don't have any real choices and stuff like that. So it kind of becomes very predictable. Whereas, a game like Green Team Wins, we were just talking like that is about the debate of why one answer is better than the other answer. Those are the funny moments, the memorable things, because those are coming out of the personalities at the table, not just the game itself. The game is not telling me what's funny. We are making what's funny together.
And then there's always the comeback joke from a previous game about why someone picked this, and that word comes up again, or that picture comes up again, and you go, well, are you going to play that card or not? It's like,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap up this, but do you have any other further comments you're thinking about regarding humor in games?
No, I feel like we covered it pretty well here.
Barry, did you have any more questions? Or
do I have any more questions? I have thousands and thousands of questions. I want to know about Grant's circuit, where he tours, and
I'm all over the place.
All over the place. Well, you can tell us all about that now. Where can people find you?
People can find me if you want board game stuff. You can find me on TikTok at Grant's Game Rex and Instagram at Grant's Game Rex, and on YouTube at Grant Lyon. If you want comedy stuff, you can go to my website, grantlyon.com. You can also listen to my album that hit #1 on the comedy charts in 2020 called Scheduled Fun Time. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's sure been fun having you on the show, Grant. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to meet you and that we got to connect with one another. And I think it's gonna blossom. We're gonna have more opportunities to hang out and get to know each other better.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been fun hanging out with you both.
Yeah, thanks very much for hanging out.
Yeah.
And babbling.
Where can people find us there, Sir Badger?
They can find us on YouTube, Berkey and Badger. They can find us on Facebook, Berkey and Badger. They can find us on Twitter, Berkey and Badger. They can find us on practically every single streaming podcast service from Apple, Stitcher Radio, and do I have to list them? Deezer, Spotify, Napster, Libsyn, Berkey and Badger. Game Babble.
Kabuki Kid says it's been a crotch-kicking good time.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
The joke that keeps on giving.
Yeah, make sure to check us out on the Board Game Geek Guild 2248. And there will be a poll. We'll talk about humor in gaming and what are some of your games that you like to have humor in, and some of that stuff, and all these. We got to get a poll about all these games Grant picked. The new Dungeon Master, Grant Lyon.
Yeah.
Yes. Pick this game. Click this box.
Well, super fun having y'all on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the show today, and we look forward to connecting with you in the comments. And with that, I think we're about ready to send us out.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.
In no time.